Read the disclaimer 13 and up. Hello everyone. For this video, I want to talk about the fact that Beyblade Burst has now gone on for over 7 years. And I thought, what better way to kind of appreciate it than trying to talk about some of the highlights that it was able to offer us. This is going to be discussing the top 7 coolest gimmicks, abilities, you know, that type of stuff. I'm really excited to actually talk about this and kind of just see, you know, what it had to offer. So, before we continue, I want to mention our store, mallbase.com. Do you know on June 1st, for the entire month of June, 20% off of everything except for Beyblade X products? Also, support the channel, appreciate any support regardless, and make sure to comment your picks that you really liked. Anyways, so starting us off is going to be Victory Valkyrie from the Dual Layers. Now, Victory Valkyrie, what I'm picking is actually going to be the driver of Variable. So Variable was pretty unique, and honestly, any praise that people give to it, I think is well deserved. It's a really cool gimmick where at the start, the rubber is basically with tiny little stubs on it, and eventually over time, as it wears down in battle, you awaken it to be able to have it be more flat and way more aggressive and powerful. I thought it was really cool because you kind of just get rewarded for battling a lot with the Beyblade, even if it did kind of inspire some not so good ideas from TAKARA TOMY. I do have to admit it is pretty cool. Now, if only the rubber and Variable could be good. Next up from Beyblade Burst God, we have Nightmare Longinus, which is basically a fused layer slash disc. Technically also it is the metal that's on it, but what I thought was really interesting with Nightmare Longinus was basically combining a layer and a disc into one. I thought that was really, really neat, and it's also really cool how its ability with the metal dragon heads, they actually move around, and I like when you actually get to near the end of it, you can actually get some really powerful impact in battle and give that like blow to defeat your opponent. It also just looks cool, man. It looks cool, it performs good, so it's pretty much a win-win either way. Well, not everything has to be that it performs good overall. Some things I just really like. I really enjoyed this, so yeah. Alrighty, next up we are at Cho-Z with Phoenix. This is basically Revive Phoenix, Dead Phoenix, Perfect Phoenix, 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 right? So, what's really cool about this is they take the idea of a defense type, but make it really unique. You have to actually burst this Beyblade 2 times, which I just thought was like, man, that's cool. So how Phoenix works, you're supposed to twist the armor onto it and it locks on, and then after in battle, when your Bey delivers some impact, right, your opponent delivers that impact to it, the layer will basically trigger, or then after the armor will come flying off, and you might think, oh, I bursted it. No, you didn't burst it. Actually, the armor comes off as a projectile, which can either hit your opponent and do some stuff to kind of stop it in its way, or just become a stage hazard in the stadium. I thought it's really, really cool. It's also effective, so it wins in both fronts to me, and also, what a cool concept for a defense type to just have a projectile work with it in a very unique way. I really like it. It's probably one of my favorite gimmicks of in general for Burst. I think it's like on my top 5 if I had to. Alrighty, next up in GT, what I really like about this is that it basically takes the concept that Hasbro is kind of building within the design of originally Rip Fire, and then after Remote Control Driver, to have like a obviously battery powered motorized driver, which I thought was really cool, and how they activate in their ability to actually move in battle reminds me very reminiscent of the idea of engine gear for how it could assist you in battle, but obviously, you know, electric driver, right? It is a fused disc driver as well, but what I find really cool is that for hybrid, what's really interesting is when you do launch it, it actually goes around in the stadium and powers through around, which I thought, man, that's actually really cool how the spin can activate and help boost it up. And then after when you get to Ignition Dash, it's more or less kind of like the same idea. It goes around, but it goes in reverse. Now, if you want to argue, well, how technically effective is it? Is it better off or on? I don't really care to talk about that. I just think it's really awesome. And also, I think it really takes the idea of like an electric driver and kind of like perfects it, I would say. I do obviously wish we could have gotten to see maybe more recolors or that type of stuff with it, with this concept, but you know, in fairness, right, it does cost a bit to actually make and produce, so I'll take what I could have gotten. Now, in Beyblade Burst Sparking, probably the people who know nothing about competitive will probably yell at me and it's like, it sucks. Actually, I don't think anyone should be saying that. Dude, the freaking Lucifer, when you launch it, creates a barrier. A rubber barrier. That is basically these pink tongues. You launch it, they stick out. It is a rubber barrier. That's really cool. Well, its use is really only in opposite spin stuff, you know, left versus right or right versus left. The 2D is able to be really used to be really fun. And even if you make it just battle against only lefts, like it's honestly really cool defense for what it's able to actually do. And also, the anime hyped me up on its abilities, and IRL is also pretty fun to stare at. So yeah, that's good enough for me. Okay, now in DB, what I really want to focus on is Greatest Raphael. Now, Raphael's gimmick is when you launch, dude. Now, with the gimmick, the kind of idea is that as obviously the greatest armor around it starts to raise up, it'll create a halo effect. And basically, it'll go towards the center where basically now it's on the top and creates this halo effect. Now the idea is supposed to be kind of like a centralized weight distribution because obviously the weight's now to the middle, trying to help it maintain balance. I would like to think this at least somewhat works to some extent. And also, to have an Angel Beyblade and it makes a halo, it's a pretty creative execution. It's a really creative execution actually. So I like it. Alright, now BU, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not like I really had that many options. I can't pick Lucifer again, and that's why we're talking about Xiphoid Excalibur. So imagine this, the blade has the sword. Xanthus technically is in the shape of a sword on that little edge. Its driver is literally sword, okay? Now, the gimmick is that once it loses clicks, a mini sword comes out in a combination of mostly multiple swords all lined up together, for the most part. It's really cool. And plus too, when the tiny sword comes out, it actually helps it in battle, giving it a little bit more impact in its attack. So I actually think it's really a cool idea for this like legendary holy sword that you actually gets that one-hit impact that you're trying to go for, and I love it a lot. And that's kind of it. That's kind of it. I think overall, Beyblade Burst definitely had some very unique gimmicks that it was able to offer. I do wish they gave even more to it, tried to experiment, and I'm sure there are probably some things that I could have mentioned, but you know, with how many that there are, I can't just mention every single one that I thought was really unique, but there definitely are some ones, some of which I just like personally just for how they were able to execute it. I'm kind of thinking more execution and kind of effectiveness. Sometimes it's not too much, but you get the idea. Anyways, I want to be leaving it off to you, the viewer. What are some gimmicks that you like, whether it's drivers or layers, or if there's anything for discs, go for it. Anyways, that's going to be it for now. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day and bye.